Okay, let's see here. Perfect. So it's 1 o'clock. I know a couple people said they might have to join late, but I also let them know that I record it. I put it on the YouTube page. I've been saving them all too in case anyone needs to reference it. And then I also send out a meeting recap with everything we talked about and resources that individuals requested to be shared. So Nate is with MRCI, and he's our guest speaker today to talk about some of the programs they have. And then we will move into roundtable like we normally do, where if anyone has, events coming up or new programs to share, we can talk about those.
So my name is Nate Lawton. I'm the Director of Data Employment Services at MRCI. And the PowerPoint is it's a high level overview of the programs that MRCI does provide. I included the Data Employment Services along with our MFIT program and our CDS program, which is Client Directed Services. So if you have questions about the data employment, I can answer those. The MFIP one, I'd have to leave to Marcia, and then the client directed services. Typically, I would need to ask Julie Lux, who's our chief of direct or client directed services. So MRCI's mission statement is providing innovative and genuine opportunities for individuals with disabilities, disadvantages at home, at work, and in the community. Our day services program or day support service. So we have 3 options for our day services. We have our remote day. So this provides individuals the opportunity to gain skills that promote community participation in the safety of a virtual environment. And basically how that program is set up is there's a calendar that's sent out to all the participants, and then they can pick and choose which program they want to join. We've done some sign language. We've done we'd actually had some like radio broadcasters come on. Chad Greenway, a former Minnesota Vikings player, came on. So the participants and even our staff were able to ask questions to Chad. So we get try to get as much community involvement as possible, but yet we still are building skills on a virtual or a remote platform. And then you
That's
can see.
that's awesome. I was just gonna say, did you have a PowerPoint to share? I don't know that the
Oh,
screen shared.
yeah, that would definitely help if I shared it.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me know if it
All
doesn't
right.
work.
Did it go through now?
Yep,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. So I read the mission statement and then there we go. So I just covered the remote data services. And then last year we did 1,235 virtual sessions in the year. So we plan on being at that or even more in 2025. We have our community-based day services. So the community day service provides individuals the opportunity to gain skills that promote community participation. While receiving quality supports, individuals are offered opportunities to learn and apply essential life skills such as self-advocacy, independent living, health and wellness, community safety, and social skills. So when staff sit down with the participants in their community day program, the participants help build that calendar, and then the staff will also needs to utilize one of these skills into the program. So we're still teaching those skills and providing that quality programming. And we also have our EASE program, which stands for Embracing Aging Through Social Engagement. So EASE is 55 and 55 plus for age group. It's still the 2 locations that we have is Mankato and New Ulm. And that is in Mankato, it's at our Energy Drive location. And then in New Ulm, it's at our Broadway location. So they meet basically at the building, and then throughout the day, they're going out and doing different activities. We have a lot of participants that like to go out for coffee. We at the Walla Zone, there are some events that we go to there, and then in the summertime, county fairs are a huge item. Twins games, so we do a lot of recreational, but we also will do different trainings for that independent living skills. We do work with some employment, just kind of some interest building. And then, a big part about that is the social aspect. And our day support services was started after COVID. So pre-COVID, we used to have that big building at Map Drive, and we had our Energy Drive building. But we had our workshop that we had individuals working within, and they would be making at some minimum wage a rate of for the work that they would do. After COVID, we came back and we moved to competitive employment, and then we also opened up a day service program to help those that still wanted that social aspect that they were getting when they were in our call it workshop, or the work that we provided. So we still continue to train those individuals to get jobs, but the day service program is kind of that in between, so they can still work on their skills, or some areas that we or the team feel that they need. So, and we currently have 299 day service participants, and that number probably has changed because we've taken quite a few more referrals in. But we continue to build that program, get new volunteers, provide new opportunities. Here's just a couple pictures that I pulled from. So the upper left one here, one of our Mankato groups went up to the Amazon warehouse up in the city, so they got a tour of Amazon. And then the middle picture here, they went shopping at the Shields. I'm guessing that's the Eden Prairie Shields with the fish tanks. And then in the upper corner is doing some transportation training they did in the metro. But just kind of give you an idea that some part of the training that we do provide with the day services. So, we talked about rec and leisure, but there's also those life skills that they're taught, and we continue to build our employment services. So we kind of have, different pots of money that we get for funding. So one of them is we get waiver dollars. And those are typically through Medicaid, but also we have some counties that still are have the financial responsibility for the individuals. So within those services, we have our employment development services, which is a one-to-one service, and this is basically for those of you that know about E1MN, stands for Employment First Minnesota. So it's an initiative that the waiver services and voc rehab service basically put together so they could decide on who is going to fund what program and the steps that those programs were in. So the first step is the exploration service, which is called it's Engage for E1MN. So that's really just trying to teach the person what work is. Do I even want a job? If I get a job, what's it going to do to my benefits? So it's really that early stage of that uncertainty of, do I even want to work? Employment development services is the next phase of plan. So that's where it's more one-on-one. We build that plan on, once I get a job, what does it look like? What am I going to do? Again, what's it going to do to my benefits? What skill set do I need? What do I need to have on my resume? So that's that, planning to start looking for that competitive job. I'm going to go out of order here a little bit, but then the next phase in E1MN is the find phase, which is the job placement part, which is on the far right column is the performance-based agreement, PBA. And what that is that's where we do the job placement. We're out trying to find that job, talking to employers, filling out applications. The goal of that is to get that job. going back to the first column here, the employment support services, that's the plan phase in the E1MN model. And that's the long-term supports in maintaining and keeping that job. So we work with the employer, we work with the participant. We want to make that process as smooth as possible, and we want it to be a win-win for the employer and the participant. So, we when we work with employers, we talk about, we're just as much an advocate for the employer as we are the participant, because obviously if the participant's happy and the employer's happy, it's going to be a better relationship. And um, working with employers and talking about accommodations and stuff like that, it just helps that relationship move forward. So, and then we have extended employment. So extended employment is basically some counties are still funding this program, and it's paying for the case management to help a person keep a job. So, the individual may not have a waiver because they may not be eligible for the Medicaid. So that's where counties can come in and pay for us to support that individual in their long-term job. And then moving to the middle column here, we have local rehab services and state services for the blind. These are the transition services. So pre-employment transition services, many call it pre-ETs. This was a program that was really kind of developed out of the WIOA. So getting students in the know of what work is and kind of what skill set they would need, and just having that understanding of work. So pre-employment complements that by voc rehab services can contract with us to help teach different skills from job exploration, post-secondary services, work experience. So there's a whole mix of things that voc rehab services can contract with us to provide to that person. So we have on the job eval. So an individual tries a series of jobs. They're paid by MRCI during this time, but we look at the skill set that they're trying to build and try to figure out kind of what the next step is by evaluating how they do in certain categories or different interests. So we work with a lot of employers on allowing us to have somebody come in, and they're giving them the same job that anybody would go in and get, but they have a MRCI person they're evaluating, and then as well as the employer evaluating on how they did, and then that determines kind of what areas we focus on next for what they need to improve or what they're really good at for looking for that job placement. Employee development services. So again, that's just more of it's different than employment and support services, because employee development services, it's like a month-long training basically at an employer, and they stick with different from the on the job eval, because on the job eval we do like 2 to 4 employers, where employee development services is just one employer, and we're really just kind of they know what they want. It's just we need to figure out maybe what accommodations are needed or what supports they would need to be successful in that environment. We have short-term job coaching. So our MRCI staff goes along, helps them kind of get some tasks, learn what accommodations are needed. We actually have helped employers in this process, because some people just maybe need a checklist on how to, on the job steps. And actually employers have asked us for those, for our checklist, because they've used them for when they hire staff. But the job coach is meant to be there just to, assist when needed. I think one of the challenges with job coaching is not just taking over on the job. But you're there to support and help them build the skill set. So we have our Track to Success program. So that's an 8-week program. They have a classroom portion in the morning and they work in the afternoon. The end goal of the Track to Success is they move into job placement after the class is done. We've had a lot of success with getting individuals jobs through this. They're paid by MRCI, but in the afternoon when they're working, and we've had a lot of employers hire that individual on right after because they did so well. We have customized employment. So majority of our staff are trained in doing customized employment, and really the customized employment is taking a job and building that job for the person. It's we call it job carving. So really just trying to find processes that an individual that may have some difficulty getting working a position that is just laid out. It's taking parts of that job maybe and saying, you know, they're really good at doing this half of the job, but can we have somebody else? So, for example, we had a Lumacraft that we had an individual working at, and they had their welders that were putting the rivets in the boats. Well, they had hired one of our individuals to come in and put all those rivets in, so that way the welder and the fabricator could just go right down, so it saved them time to help their processes. So it's basically going into the employer and saying, where are your processes getting hung up? And because I know my individual wants to work in this industry, and then like I said, it's that carving that job. We have our Bridge to the Future. So Bridge to the Future is a 4-week program. It's designed for typically high school students. We do it in the summer. It's that classroom portion, and then we do a work experience in the afternoon. One day a week, they go and we'll go to like a bank to learn about when you get paid. What do you savings account, checking account? How do you manage money? Credit cards. Helping people understand that just because you have check blanks doesn't mean that you have money in your account. Um, so we try to get those students as involved in the community. We do a activity day down at Sibley Park. So we bring all of our classes in. So we have programs in Fairmont, Burnsville, Shakopee, and then St. Peter, New Ulm. So we bring all the individuals together and we basically do a team building day, which is really fun because we rent the Giving Barn at Sibley, and it's cool to watch the students, all exchanging phone numbers afterwards, and they kind of, you know, make new friends there, but also watching people come out of their shell, and from when they get there to they leave, it's like, oh, like super quiet in the beginning, but now we're talking a lot. So, but yeah, just people have a really fun time with that, and it's outside and at Silly Park. So what's better than that? Then our VRS full crib services, state services for the blind placement services. So I talked about the PBA already. So that's that job placement. Um, with the job placement, we can offer job tryouts. This is a highly utilized tool. So basically, a job tryout is we have a business that has an opening. We have an individual that wants to work in that business. We're unsure exactly how it's going to go, or maybe the employer's kind of unsure how it's going to go. So we're able to go in there and offer, like, MRCI will pay the wages for 2 weeks. They're not hired on by that employer, but they're working, they're doing the job and showing that their skill set is that they're able to do it. And many times it's the participants getting that, do I really want to do this or not? So before the employer goes and does all the new hire paperwork and we go through all that, it's kind of a test run for both sides to see how the job will go. I said 2 weeks. I mean, they all vary in time, but we typically see like 2 weeks or so. And we actually have some employers that know that we have this option. So that's kind of one of the first things they'll ask is, hey, can we do a 2-week job tryout just to make sure that this is a fit for both? Which majority of the time it is usually a good fit. So extended employment long-term support. So we have a grant through the state of Minnesota that funds people that have no other funding. And what this does is support them in their long-term employment. So the requirement is we meet twice a month, and then we have to collect their pay stubs to show documentation and proof that that they are working, because we get paid. It's a performance-based program back, that we have to show proof that the individuals are working, and we get reimbursed for each hour that that person works. So the nice thing about the extended employment program that we have is people from anywhere can join this, so they don't have to go through a county, they don't have to go through voc rehab services. We can take just walk-in referrals for this, and the requirements are that we meet twice a month. We collect the pay stubs, and they have to have a documented disability that we have to have on file. So when we get our audit, that we can show proof that is a service. So if you have individuals that are just kind of they need some help, but they have no funding, this is like the ultimate program for them to sign up for, because um, it's no cost to them, and it's a grant that we have plenty of funds sitting there to utilize. Then we have our IPS program, or individual placement services. So this program is a job placement and long-term support. I shouldn't say long-term. It's a support program as well, that people with a mental health diagnosis get referred from their mental health case manager through the county into voc rehab services, and then we help them find a job. And the nice thing about the IPS program is we get funding to keep our caseload smaller. So typically a caseload no more than 20. Um, it's a rapid engagement. So the people that do join this program, they want to work. It's just helping find that job, or somebody that is working, it just needs some short-term supports to keep that job going. Our public support program, so the employability measure assessments, employment plan development, monitor plans, activities in progress, skills, education, training and resources, financial support, referrals to Social Security, health, or other providers, job development and placement, job retention and follow-up services, and direct contact on behalf of counties to ensure program compliance. So I'm sure this is Marcia's program, so and she knows this program in and out. So if you have questions about that, obviously reach out to her. But the programs that we have is the MFIP, the SNAP ET, and then Divisionary Work Program. Our client directed services, or CDS, which is MRCI, started in 1998. But we really kind of have the two categories. We have our 245D license program. So those are the individuals that are funded, they have Medicaid waivers. And then you can see the programs that we provide: individualized home supports, host home, respite, night supervision, homemaker. So really the programs, to keep people in their houses, employ people within their networks to assist them in whatever it is that they need. And MRCI really kind of just manages that budget for them and does the payroll and kind of the HR work behind the scenes to hire people to support them. So then we also have the consumer directed community supports. We do private pay, veteran directed home and community based services. We have two newer programs that are coming in. It's the CFSS. I'm sure you probably have heard CFSS. It's being talked about, and it's shared quite a bit on social media, I've noticed as well. And then our consultation services. And then here's our contacts for and I'll send this to Emily, so that she can send out if you have more questions. But yeah, that's what I have. I was worried I wasn't gonna make the 10-minute mark, but I did it. So
Yeah, no, you were very thorough. I appreciate the information. And I always forget to like preface this for new people, but so this quarterly networking meeting, so I work with MVAC. I do the adult training programs, and we do have some overlap in our communities with like some services we can provide. But basically, I just offer the quarterly networking meeting, primarily for Blue Earth and Nicollet County. But I invite anyone that wants to join, since I know we serve 9 counties. I know some of our partner agencies serve the same or similar counties. So it's mainly just to like share resources in case there's an area somebody didn't know about, and also just to make those connections. So some of us do cash assistance or we're familiar with that. Others may not be. So some of it, what you shared is familiar and some is new. So I appreciate your time. Does anyone have questions for Nate? I will send his PowerPoint out, and this meeting is also recorded, so anyone can look back at it for reference as well. But any questions? And if not, you were super thorough, so I appreciate that. I learned a lot. So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah. So you're welcome to stay on, or if you got to take off, that's okay too. But I'm gonna open it up for roundtable. Looks like somebody has a question. I'm gonna make sure. Nope, just a thank you. I'm gonna open it up for roundtable. If any agencies have events or new programs to share, you can go ahead.
I can go first if nobody else wants to. Paige with Vine, and I have a couple program updates. Due to us losing some, well, I shouldn't say losing some funding, but some of our funding getting cut, we had to eliminate a couple of programs and reduce some of our programs. So I just want people to be aware of that because they pretty much all took effect back in February. So Vine no longer has our diversity program any longer. We are also phasing out our Caring Connection program, which is our program where we match volunteers with isolated older adults for visits. And then we've also stopped offering our caregiver support groups in Mapleton and LeSueur. We're still offering them at Vine and Mankato on a weekly basis, but we are no longer offering the monthly support groups that we had in Mapleton or LeSueur. On better news, we have a couple of free and open to the public programs coming up. We have a program called Stepping On, which is a program for people who want to improve their balance. That is going to be starting on Tuesday, March 18th, and that'll be held on Tuesdays till April 29th. We also have our Living Well with Diabetes program coming up, and again, that's another free and open to the public program. That will be held on Wednesdays beginning March 19th through April 23rd. Again at Vine, and that's for people who are type 2 diabetics that want to take the program to learn how to make lifestyle changes to improve their health and manage their diabetes. And then we also have a diabetes prevention program, so people who are pre-diabetic but not yet diagnosed with type 2. And that program is a year-long program that begins on April 17th. We have 2 info sessions coming up about that program, which is going to be held on March 20th and April 3rd at 11 a.m. at Vine. And again, all 3 of those programs are free and open to the public. If you want more information about them, you can go to vinevolunteers.org or give us a call. I'll also email Emily all the information that I'm sharing right now so she can email it out to everybody. And then 2 other free and open to the public programs we have going on that are on a reoccurring basis. We have a new program that we started with Mayo. They are loaning us a doctor once a month to do what we're referring to as Walk with a Doc. So that'll be held on the second Tuesdays of the month from 5:30 to 6:30 on our indoor walking track here at Vine. So the local doctor will be walking with anybody who, again, free and open to the public, anybody who wants to join them for a walk and answering questions and kind of talking about different health related issues. We also have a free monthly program on the 3rd Tuesday of the month from 1:30 to 2:30 at Vine, which is for cardiac rehab patients. So it's just our cardiac rehab program. So it's an opportunity for people. It's sort of like a support group. People who are going through cardiac rehab can go and talk about what their issues are and talk about what's working for them, what's not working for them, and they can share with other peers. So again, I'll email all this information to Emily so she can share it out to the group. But if anybody has any questions right now, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. I always appreciate when you send those dates and stuff.
It's
That's
a lot of
super
information to
helpful.
throw at you at once.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about. I know we're all going through some changes, but the walk with a dog is really cool. That's a neat offering. So
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you.
Any questions anyone had or any other agencies?
I can share information on Lutheran Social Service. Um, the crisis nursery is still going strong. Probably doing about 25 days of care the last month or two, but last year I averaged 40 days of care. And that's short-term child care for children ages 12 and younger when their families are experiencing stress. We use licensed providers, so family child care, center-based care, and also foster care. And we can there's no income guidelines and there's no cost to the parents. Lutheran Social Service did lose some funding early on after President Trump took office. Our refugee services, and most of those employees were based out of the cities. We ended up laying off about 27 people with our refugee services. I need more providers for the crisis nursery. So if you know anyone who's licensed to provide childcare, I'd love to connect with them. And I'm also in need of some on-call volunteers who answer phones evenings and weekends. So if you know anyone who would like a volunteer position, but they'd love to have something they could do at home, the calls just get forwarded to their phone. And I'm always there as backup if they have questions. So Emily, can I also talk about the Project Community Connect right now?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. So the Project Community Connect is a huge resource sharing event that we've been doing now for about 13 years. It will be on April 22nd. And I think I've already sent Emily flyers, but I will resend them. And I have to write myself a note or I will forget. So there will be about 80 different agencies there with booths. If your agency has not registered yet and you'd still like to, we do still have room for more booths. And then we average at least 500 people who come through to access resources. We advertise in a 9-county region. So it's actually Region 9, which would be the same counties as MVAC, Life Work Planning Center, CADA. Those agencies typically have pretty much the same county region, but we will serve anyone who walks through the door. So if somebody's cousin is visiting from Texas and they want to come get a free haircut, free lunch, that's wonderful. We will have about $1,000 worth of shoes that we will give out from an organization. They call themselves the Shoe Bus, but they don't actually bring a bus anymore. It's racks of shoes. So every adult guest or like unaccompanied youth will be able to get one free pair of shoes. And then if they wish to purchase additional shoes, it's, I believe, $3 or $5 for the shoes. And some of the shoes are new, otherwise they're gently used. We will have free childcare for kiddos ages 6 months to 8 years. So if someone is at the event and wants their children to use the childcare room, that frees them up so that they can have more attention to the providers that they're talking to. We will also give out Minnesota identity document vouchers. And the last few years, we've written out vouchers for around $2,000 worth of identity documents. So driver's licenses, state IDs, birth certificates, but they do need to be Minnesota, so we can't pay for passports. We can't pay for that birth certificate from Chicago. And the vouchers, people have about 2 to 3 weeks to use them, and they use them at the Blue Earth County DMV. And as I've been talking about the identity documents, I'm stressing this year, any family that might have a concern that ICE may be coming and knocking on their door or asking for their documentation, especially if somebody maybe isn't a citizen themselves, but their children are. they need to have those birth certificates so that they can readily access them. And we don't have a limit. So if a family comes in with, they need 6 birth certificates because they've got, between themselves and their kiddos, they have, need 6. That's not a problem. We will write a voucher for that full amount. New this year is a booth called Liftin' the Ladies. And we are collecting new and gently used bras. And then we will have a booth where there will actually be some volunteers that will offer to measure people to help them figure out which size they need. And it won't be like a free-for-all where there's just, 1,000 bras on a table. It'll be very organized, and the volunteer will help them. And we're hoping even to have like a little dressing area in case they'd want to try them on. Transportation options. The city of Mankato is providing free transportation to and from the event. They're regular buses, mobility, and flex buses. But if people want to use the mobility or flex, they probably should be scheduling it several days in advance, maybe even a week or so in advance. But the regular transit routes, they just get on and say, going to the Project Community Connect, and there's no charge both directions. We are partnering with Vine, Trues Transit. My phone number is on the flyer. So if people have transportation questions, they can call me. And so if the person lives in an area where they can't ride the Mankato Transit, but they are eligible for True Transit, so they're in LeSueur and Nicollet County, I believe.
Blue Earth, Nicollet, and LeSueur County.
Yep. Okay. So True Transit, if someone talks to me, I will give True Transit their name. Then that person calls and schedules the True Transit ride, and True Transit bills us. So then that way those folks can get in without charge also. We're also partnering with the Salvation Army, and we will have use of their van that day. So if anyone knows of a group of maybe 3 to 5, 7 people who would like to come, we would send the Salvation Army van out maybe to the St. Peter Community Center or, the Gaylord Senior Center to pick up folks and to bring them back afterwards. And that again would be calling me, and then I would try to coordinate with Chelsea over at the Salvation Army and figure out the route and then get back to people and say, okay, this is when you'll be picked up and this is when you meet at the, at the PCC to leave. So, and hairstylists. I almost forgot to mention that. We normally have about 25 hairstylists, and about 18 to 20 of them come from the Nova Academy of Cosmetology. They have a conflict this year and can't come. And typically when they are there, we do about 150 haircuts in 3 hours. Last I heard, we had 3 stylists. So if anyone knows any, maybe talk to your own stylist, or someone that maybe just retired and they would love to help out for a few hours, we do need more hairstylists. And then we are taking donations of, we have some free tables scattered throughout the event. So personal care items, school supplies, diapers, wipes, pet supplies, that type of thing. Our guests, and quilts, our guests really appreciate getting those items also. So I
Yes,
talked
I
fast
did.
and furiously.
That's perfect. I did find your flyers, Kate, so I think I already have them and can send them out. So I've got the English, it looks like Somali and Spanish, you're lifting the ladies one, and then a general summary, it looks like too. So I can
Wonderful.
share that with the group.
And we are still looking for a few volunteers, and the volunteer link is on the general summary. If you still want to register, if you just let me know, I will connect you with the person at United Way who does the registering. Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone else have any updates or events coming up?
Hi, I'm Stacy from Smurls. I'm the outreach coordinator, and this is my first time at this meeting, but I do recognize some faces and names. Just one thing that we're tossing around here at Smurls is in the Southwest region holding an eviction expungement clinic. And I was wondering, maybe just by like a show of hands or in the chat, do you have clients that you know would be interested in attending? And if so, like virtual or in person? Just a couple of questions. If you want to shoot me an email, it's stacyhuntington@smurls.org. But it's something that we're trying to get ready to do, and we were hoping to have something ready and being and promoted at Project Community Connect. So look for us there. That's all I have.
Welcome. I will certainly share your information with our housing staff because they might have a better idea of what their clients would be looking for. But did anyone else, to answer her question, feel like that would be beneficial? Looks like a couple.
I've
So
got a quick question for you, Stacy.
Mhm.
So my name is Rachel Solentini out of the Mankato office for Senior Linkage Line and the Minnesota River Area Agency on Aging.
Mhm.
And so you said the southwest portion. Do you know what counties are you targeting with that clinic?
Yes, any county. So we cover everything from, let's see, McLeod County down to Faribault County, all the way over from LeSueur and Waseca County to the west. So Blue Earth, Nicollet, that's in our southwest region. Smurls of Southeast is also working on something like that, and they cover Rice, Scott, Goodhue, Wabasha, the eastern part of the county. Does that answer your question, Rachel?
Yes, that's helpful. Thank
Okay,
you. And
you
then
bet.
do you have a specific date? Or are you
No,
kind
we
of working
don't.
to
I'm
fill that
just
out?
in the very prelims of this, trying to gauge interest and decide if we have to have it virtually or if there's a location, a centralized location where we could have it in each county. We would like to do this in each county eventually, but
Thank you. And I can kind of go next unless anyone else has questions for Stacy. Okay, like I said, I'm Rachel from the Minnesota Senior Linkage Line and also the Minnesota River Area Agency on Aging. This is also my first time at this meeting, and we serve out of the Mankato office, we serve the 27 counties in southwestern Minnesota. So quite a broad area here, but I'm just glad to be a part of the meeting and happy to be here.
welcome. Thanks for joining.
I'd like to go next if possible. I'm Erin. I work with Head Start with MVAC. We are accepting applications for this upcoming school year. So we take children ages 0 to 5. There's 2 different programs. 0 to 3 would be a home-based option where a home visitor would come out about one time a week for about an hour and a half to meet with families and go over developmentally appropriate games and activities. And then we have the center-based option for 3 to 5-year-olds. And that's also something that would be income-based. However, we always are taking applications and we keep a waiting list pretty steady. But our waiting list, I like to reiterate, is never based on first come, first served. It's first based on a family's needs and their situation. So we gather points determined by how they answer to certain questions and situations, and those points added up determines where they're at on the waiting list. So please encourage people to apply for Head Start and connect with us. That's something that they would have to do in person, and we can meet with them at their place, or they can come here to the center to fill out those applications. But now is a good time to start doing that.
And Rachel, which are you with the Mankato programs or the St. Peter programs?
Yes, both. So we've
Or
got a
Erin?
couple.
Okay. I'm sorry. I meant to say Erin. With Erin with Head Start. Are you with the Mankato or St. Peter?
I'm with Mankato, but all of the different Head Start areas are currently accepting applications for next year. So we do give preference to people who are returning, but we're taking applications now for everybody. So please encourage them to reach out.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other agencies? I have some for MVAC for our other programs if there's no other agencies that have any updates.
When you're done, I could talk a little bit about the Blue Earth Nicollet County Homeless Response Team, and some of the things that we have going on also, Emily.
Sure. Do you want to just go ahead if you have them handy?
Sure.
If
So,
not, oh yeah, go for it.
okay. So there are homeless response teams that meet in the different counties in Region 9. It was something that was started because of the family homeless prevention dollars that came to MVAC, gosh, about 20 some years ago. Anyway, the homeless response teams meet at different frequencies. But typically the Blue Earth County one met monthly and the Nicollet County one met monthly. Those two homeless response teams recently merged. And I would say, well, we have a hybrid option. So between in-person and virtual, we tend to have probably at least 40 people per meeting. Plus our distribution list is about 150 people. If you're not currently a part of the homeless response team, it might be something that you want to consider joining, because you'd be able to get your information out to quite a broad area. And we tend to have speakers coming in and talking about things like the driver's diversion program, helping people getting their driver's licenses back, Exodus lending, helping people get out of payday debt, the child care assistance program. We've had housing providers come in, mental health, chemical dependency providers, et cetera. So there's pretty much always a learning component. And then in addition to agency updates, we try to have an agency highlight each month so that you get some more in-depth information. How do you refer people? What kind of services? Where's your funding come from? Those types of things. So I will put my email in the chat, and if anybody wants any information about the homeless response teams, Blue Earth and Nicollet County are the ones that I know best. But I could answer some questions about Lesueur and Waseca also. And the next Blue Earth Nicollet County one is actually on March 25th, which is a Tuesday from 8:30 to 10 a.m. And like I said, there's hybrid options. So thank you.
Kate, I'm not on the listservs for the Waseca County HRT. Could you add me to that? Oh, can't hear you. Sorry, but thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Any other agencies that have updates? Otherwise, I have a few. So I know we have a couple new individuals, and again, I apologize. I always forget to introduce myself. So again, my name's Emily. I work with Minnesota Valley Action Council with our adult training programs. We've got a variety of them. And so I always try to highlight other departments too if others didn't share those. I also record this meeting and I have a YouTube page I put them on so that if there's any resources, like all those PowerPoints and past guest speakers are available. So just examples, I've had mental health resources. Lutheran Social Services has shared some childcare related supports, Minnesota Retain, Vine, and a few others. But I always welcome suggestions if there's resources or agencies that you've heard of that you want to hear more about. Suggest them to me, and I'll do my best to find a guest speaker to speak on it. But I also put the link to that page in case anyone misses a meeting or wants to reference something from these meetings. Energy assistance is going on right now yet. I don't think anyone mentioned that. It goes through May. Applications are still available. There's an online application link from the state of Minnesota, as well as all of our offices have paper copies that people can access. It's also on our website. Let's see, we have a tax clinic going on right now, so I will share that flyer with everyone. But if anyone, it's income based, but if you have families that need help filing taxes, that is going on, and I believe they still have appointment times available. So I will be sure to share that out. There looks like there's a question. Oh, perfect. It's just Kate sharing some resources. So let's see, I will share that tax flyer with the group when I do a recap of all the resources we talked about today. Let's see, Head Start already did an update for us, so thank you for that. Let's see, our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 11th at 1 p.m. I don't have a guest speaker for that one yet, so if anyone has suggestions, feel free to let me know. I did not send out meeting invites yet for all of them. I know last year there was some troubles with like adding new people after the fact, so I was trying something a little different this year, but just let me know if anyone would like prefer a like a save the time or date placeholder for that, and I can sure get those sent. Let's see here. MVAC is going through an accounting software change. So come April 1st, some of our support services, we might hit a few road bumps with some of the clients we work with while we transition to that new system. So I just wanted to, I know we all often share or have shared participants. So just kind of putting it out there that we might have a few hiccups while we're transitioning to that system for supports and stuff. So I think that's, our adult dislocated worker programs and other adult training programs. There's a variety of them. Are still accepting referrals. So if you know anyone who is 18 or older, maybe they were laid off due to no fault of their own, maybe they are what we call a displaced homemaker, they lost the support of the second person in their household and they now need help finding a job or going back to school. We have programs to help with that for up to 2 years. We also have our young adult programs. Right now we're primarily focusing on ages 16 to 24, and so we do have some spots open for summer work experiences yet. If you have any youth that maybe just need help with work readiness skills or that first job, that's where we have a little bit of overlap, but this would be more geared towards participants that wouldn't require a job coach. So that's kind of where our services differ. So competitively employable. We also have a new grant coming up that's working with youth with disabilities, but we're learning more on that. So I don't have specific details right this moment. But yeah, basically when in doubt, if somebody has a need, feel free to connect them with one of us, and we'll do our best to see if we have a program that can help or get them connected to the right people. So any questions? If not, I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to join. I always like connecting with you and hearing what updates and what other services are out there to connect our clients to. So I really appreciate you sharing those. I will type up a recap like I normally do, get that sent out as soon as I can, and then put the recording up as soon as possible as well. Perfect. Thank you, Jean. Any final thoughts? Otherwise, I will do my best to share those in a timely manner. And like I said, the next meeting is June 11th, 1 p.m. And if you have any topics or resource needs for guest speaker suggestions, I'm always welcome to hear ideas because we've had a lot and I try not to do too many repeats, but I also want to make sure it's relevant to what you guys need. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Perfect. You all take care. Thank you so much.